Let
I'm
me...
so sorry.
No, no problem.
Okay, so hi again, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. We are in between a pandemic, but I hope you all are taking care. So my name is Onisha, and I welcome you all to this webinar on behalf of Law Octopus. We also have Mr. H.B. Keshwa with us today. He's the managing attorney of Bhaskaran and Associates, an IPR advisory and practice firm based in Pune. He's a 2014 BLLB graduate from UPS Dehradun. He has also done his LLM from ILS Pune, and he has also done his BSc in cognitive psychology from Annamalai University. And he has also been a faculty at New Law College Pune as well as Career Launcher Chennai. And not to forget, he's also the faculty of our trademark law course. Keshwa, thank you for joining in. I hope we would learn more about how to make a career in trademark law from you today. Over to you, Keshwa.
Thank you, Anisha. Thank you for the nice introduction. Good evening, all, and welcome to our webinar on trademark, the career field or the career path, or I would call it as the future of practice in the field of trademarks. Now, before we begin, I just have a very simple question, because now this webinar, I wanted to be a little interactive. So how do we interact is that I would be happy if you could just post the points that I said. I mean, if I ask you something, you just post it on the chat box. It would be really, really amazing. So first question to you people is trademark really that important? Ever asked yourself? Because we see so many businesses every day. We see so many companies every day. We see so many organizations every day. We see so many thelas every day. We see, a lot of hawkers on the road every day. So the question is that, do you people really think this term or this concept of trademark is that important? Just give me a yes or a no, guys. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm getting so many yeses. Yes, 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 yes. And I'm even getting few detailed answers. Awesome, brilliant, guys, brilliant. I love the enthusiasm. I love the response. You're absolutely right. Trademark is as important as how your name is. I'm not going to tell you people about what is trademark or let's go into the law in detail, but rather I'm going to keep it in layman's terms as to why trademark practice is important and why you people can actually look at a bright future in the field of trademarks. Now, first thing first is, let me just go in just 2 lines about what is a trademark. A trademark is a name, a word, a logo, a shape of a particular logo itself, a color of a particular logo, a pattern belonging to a logo, a jingle, a smell, a sound, a taste. All these factors are trademarks. But in today's date, in India in particular, we see that there are a lot of challenges where people do not take trademark like that seriously. They sometimes take it for granted. But here is the statistics for you. Out of every 100 successful businesses or successful organizations, successful companies, 99% are successful because they have focused upon their trademark. The whole logic is simple. When a person focuses upon 99% of this entire situation, they will understand that when you protect your name, you ensure that there is no one else with the same name out there. That is the beauty about trademarks. But at the same time, out of every 1,000 organizations, if 90 or 900 organizations aren't doing well, it is because they have compromised upon their intellectual property, especially their trademarks. They don't pay attention at all. Just today morning, I was working on a particular case. I'm not going to take the name of that particular school, but I handle the trademark for that school. They called me up and they said that it's an emergency. I said, why? Why is it an emergency? They said that there is another school with the same name out there in Gujarat. I said, how is that possible? The registry would have not allowed. They said, no, they don't have a trademark but they're functioning under the same name. And the best part is they use the same tagline that I use. They use the same images that I use. Even the owner of the school told me that my wife's image is out there on their website. This became scary. This actually became scary because when I opened that website, I saw not one, but nearly 100 infringements because the school has different factors like school houses are there. Then you have certain school terminologies. Then you have certain clubs. So this particular school has trademarked everything. But that is the best part. Since they have trademarked everything, it is now easy for us to fight this battle to take down this competitor who's trying to live off the reputation of this school. That is the beauty about trademark practice. हिंदी में बहुत फेमसली बोलते हैं नाम को बचाना बहुत जरूरी है, नाम कमाना बहुत जरूरी है, नाम करना बहुत जरूरी है. That is what in legal terms we say, protect your brand name, protect your trademark. That is the reason why we are having this webinar today. And I'm going to tell you guys in brief about why trademarks are important in terms of practice and why the practice in the field of trademark is a beautiful practice and how you people can look at a greater reputation. Now, trust me, by the end of this webinar, I have this feeling that I'm going to see a lot of competitors for me, healthy competitors for me coming out in the field of trademarks, because I would really encourage all of you to think of trademark as a lucrative career. So first question that I would like to ask you people is, why should one practice just in the field of trademarks? Why should one practice just in the field of trademarks? I would be happy if I can have some answers on the chat box. Okay, we have a person says specialization is important. It is because they're saying get genuine. Okay, what does that mean? It is an emerging field. Okay, fair enough. For expertise in a field, every business has no other IPs, but definitely going to have a trademark name, logo, etc. Apurva Singhal, thank you. Shivam, to be able to understand nuances and issues faced by corporates, brilliant. Now let me say something very simple. When you study a trademark, it is like studying another human being. For example, if I see a couple of names out here, heard the name HB Keshava, you would want to understand who is HB Keshava, what is HB Keshava. If you heard the name Loctopus, you want to know what is Loctopus, what does Loctopus do. You actually get to study the entire industry which is using that particular trademark. So when you venture out into the field of trademark, you're actually venturing out into fields like contract law, into banking, into taxation, into arbitration, into your different areas of company law. Why? Because a trademark does not cover everything, but the trademark represents everything that belongs to the organization. For example, let me say you are going ahead with a startup. A startup worries about anything and everything from company formation, their GST compliances, then getting a shop act done, then having all their labor agreements or their employment agreements done, to get their distribution agreements done, to get their contracts done, have their product portfolio managed, have their website designed, have their privacy policy and user agreement done. But if you want to study all of these, what is the first thing you ask? What is the name of your company? What is your trademark? And when you create a trademark description under niche classification of WIPO, you actually start studying the company in detail. So tomorrow's date, when you are getting into a particular contract, you're getting into a particular confidentiality agreement, you're actually creating an NDA, you are actually franchising the company out, you're creating more branches for the company, you're building the structure of the company, the trademark says it all. For example, whenever, just think back to your school and college days. If a name strikes, let's say a name like Rahul, or let's say a name like let's say Ramesh or Suresh or some random name, immediately you see certain characteristics of that person. Lamba hai, chauda hai, mota hai, patla hai. गोरा है, काला है, मूंछ है, दाढ़ी है, क्लीन शेव्ड है, अच्छा पढ़ता था, नहीं अच्छा पढ़ता है. You start describing the features of that person. That's precisely what trademark does for you. So the second you say trademark, you immediately start imagining what all this company can do. What are all the factors of this company? And what are the deep down roots of this company is what you understand when trademark becomes an important factor. But here is the glitch in the system. Why is it important to protect your brand name as a trademark? It is because when you don't protect your brand name as a trademark, let's say that Loctopus is such a beautiful identity, and if Loctopus did not have a trademark, 100 Loctopus will immediately come into the market and will confuse the people, will cheat the people by saying that we are the original Loctopus. This is precisely why trademark practice is a booming practice, because here is again the statistics. Per day, we see minimum 5,000 applications coming in for trademarks, product brand names, product patterns, product three-dimensional figures, product colors, then even different companies having smaller subsidiary names, companies using certain taglines. So minimum 5,000 trademarks per day आप देख सकते हो उनके एप्लीकेशंस आते रहते हैं. So this is one profession where it is extremely important that you can study, or you have to study the entire organization to protect the name of the organization. Trademark law paves way to the study of different laws. One of my other favorite laws being the Information Technology Act, or cyber law. Me myself being a cybercrime advocate, I get the chance to study trademarks even on the cyber front. How? Through cyber squatting, through domain names, through website names, through names, taglines, entities that are used on the website, on the particular content of the website, or even in the applications that are there, or even the logo of the application. For example, if I say Subway Surfers, Temple Run, PUBG, you all can immediately imagine the logo. But imagine if there is another parallel application with that logo, then immediately you are going to get confused. This is a small request to the participants. There are so many participants have started sending in a lot of questions. Just a humble request is that if you could keep your questions at exactly 5:45. At 5:45, you people can bombard me with questions. I would be happy to answer. And if I just miss out answering anybody, I will ensure that once you can drop in an email and we will answer to your email. But I would request all the participants to please start asking questions at 5:45. Thank you. Moving further, in the same field of trademark practice, why is it a rising field? Why is it a growing field? This field seems to be growing really fast. This PSP field seems to be like having a lot of potential opportunities in the future. Why is it like that? India is seeing a growth of so many startups coming its way. India is seeing a lot of good companies being established from other countries in India itself. India, in particular, is seeing a lot of products coming out as a part of the company, because of which the number of trademarks, trademark matters, trademark cases, trademark challenges have increased significantly in the last few years. Now, before we used to have the Trade and Merchandise Act. After the Trade and Merchandise Act, we have the Indian Trademark Act. But the best thing that ever happened in the trademark industry is the 2017 amendment of the rules, which changed the entire dimension. And not just the fact that it changed the dimension, the best part is it made filing and it made due diligence, it made prosecution and defense for trademarks very easy. So that is one of the major reasons why there are so many people coming out in the field of trademark practice to do a much better job. So therefore, I would say that if you people are looking at learning and growing in the field of trademark, now is the time. Now is precisely the time, because I'll also make another prediction. 10 years from today, the whole trademark practice is going to be something which is going to be equivalent to what people see in the court every day. Literally, when we walk into the court, we see so many people out there, so many advocates who are in the similar line of work. They say we can do everything, but specialized advocates in trademarks, very limited in number. Very limited in number. There's a saying in the field of trademarks. You'll find 100 advocates who can all do trademark filing, who can do oppositions, who can even fight in the court. But how many advocates are out there out of the 100 who understand trademark law to its depths? Now, when I say understanding trademark law to its depths, we are talking about understanding trademark on the international perspective, on the domestic perspective, on the product knowledge perspective, on the product visualization perspective. In today's date, I have practiced with trademarks to such an extent that the second I look at a brand name, I know what is going to happen to that brand name. That is the amount of depth that the trademark needs to create. Trademark is not, filing a trademark application is not a joke. People treated it like a joke. People just closed their eyes and they just filed a trademark application, and the client had to suffer. So therefore, trademark practice is extremely important. And one of the best parts about trademark practice is, through every trademark, you learn what to do and you learn what not to do. And at the same time, you learn how to advise your company. What does a client want? A client just doesn't want a trademark registration. A client wants a trademark advocate who can actually tell them the future of the trademark. That is the beauty about trademark practice. It is not just about filing a name or defending a name. It is also about predicting the future of that one particular brand. Now, let me take an example. Just today morning, I was talking to a very close friend, associate of mine, and we were talking about a product which is very famous in just one particular city, in a very small city. Now, this product is called famously as Aloo Mudi. Now, Aloo Mudi is it's a delicacy, and there are so many vendors in that city. I forgot the name of the city. I asked that person, what would happen if a business establishment is made in a city like Pune or Bombay? Would it be possible to sell that product Aloo Mudi? That person said that it is highly probable and highly possible because it is easy to make and there are a lot of people who will buy that product. The person gave me an entire business plan. I even predicted what all could be the future options. But at the end of everything, I asked that person a single question. What would be the name of that one particular entity that you're creating? The person said, I'll just have any name for it. Now, once I have a name, I can very well go ahead with it. Then I thought to myself, if a name is just anything, then why do we have a name? So if I were to open a business of Aloo Mudi, I would build a particular trademark saying that it is not just that one particular food product that I'll sell today. I will want to create a trademark which will allow me, which will give me the ability to open multiple options or products or services under that one particular brand name. So remember, a good trademark advocate is not just a person specialized in the trademark law. He or she is also a very good business coach. He or she is also a very good business advisor. And he or she is an excellent marketing strategist. That is the beauty about trademark practice. Do you know how difficult it is to choose a name? कोई भी नाम ले लेंगे, यहाँ से उठा लेंगे, we'll just pick it off the internet. No. Sometimes choosing a name is as difficult as astrology, as numerology. The same goes with an organization. People get emotionally attached to names. And when the trademark law interferes, they realize that there are other names with a similar pattern. This is where I remember what my gurus have told me in trademark that there are only 8 original intellectual property ideas in this world. The rest are a permutation and combination of everything. This I have heard not once but twice or thrice from the late Shri Shamnath Bashir, who had advised me and guided me on this particular frontier. So when I look down today, I feel that people, when they come out with brand names, they just pick up a random name from anywhere because they think that nobody else thought of this name, but they don't know that they have heard this name before. They have forgotten about it. So that is precisely the reason why, being in the field of trademarks, being a practitioner in the field of trademarks, you need to explore names not just today, but every single minute. You have to explore what are all the possible trademarks that exist. What are all the possible combinations of trademarks? What are all the possible future opportunities for a particular brand name? What are all the challenges that are going to come by? How to strategize an opposition? How to strategize an objection? What do you do in a hearing? How do you file an infringement notice? How do you send a passing off notice? How do you send a cease and desist notice? How do you argue in the court in front of a person, in front of the honorable judge, who may not find a big difference in the trademarks, but you know the difference better than anything? My lucky stars, I've had the opportunity for working on trademarks which are related to bodies like ISRO, which are related to bodies like GAIL India, which are related to Boeing. The biggest advantage I got is that even they are vulnerable. And they are so vulnerable that years of creation gets destroyed in just one night because their trademark was not approved. Their trademark was taken away. The trademark was rejected, refused. And without any choice, they were forced to change the name and restart even after a 20-year establishment. That is the reason why trademark practice is not as easy as you think. Today's date, a lot of people have started becoming trademark agents. They think that becoming a trademark agent means I can pick up 1,000 trademarks every month, and by taking 1,000 trademarks every month, I can make a lot of money. But that's not how the game works. The whole logic behind the whole point behind becoming a trademark agent or a trademark attorney is that, remember, you are holding somebody's name in your hand. You're holding an organization's name in your hand. You're holding the identity of an organization in your hand. That is the power you have when you are either a trademark agent or a trademark advocate or a trademark attorney. People have asked me, don't you need a specialization to get into the field of trademarks? I'm sorry, no, you don't. You just need vigorous study and research when you get into the field of trademarks. If you have that vigorous study and research of different organizations, of different structures that are belonging to organizations, of different ways the organization is created, different ways an organization can expand, then you will be able to understand trademarks very well. Let me take an example. Apple. I'm just saying a single word, Apple. I noticed in the chat box that we have district court judges also. So namaste, vanakkam. Thank you for coming. So when I say the word Apple, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Can you just put it on the chat box? iPhone. Thank you, Shivam. iPhone, logo, fruit. Ah, that's so sweet. Tech giant. Nice. Come on, I need more. Starbucks. Okay. How are you connecting Starbucks to Apple? A popular brand, a house of brands, the company Apple. Nice. Come on, I need a little more. I need a little more. World's most valuable trademark, a bitten apple, Steve Jobs. Ah, lifestyle, an expensive brand, the half-eaten one, the half apple. Nice, brilliant. So you people are able to connect to the word apple in so many ways, but nobody said Newton till now. Not a single person said Newton till now. People have said luxury, people have said iPhone, people have said MacBook, people have said sophistication. Okay, you just said Newton. Okay, thank you, Vishnu Maya. The whole point of the logic behind Apple, exactly, Pragya, thank you. You just made my work very easy, Pragya Shukla. Because Newton didn't trademark Apple, Steve Jobs took it all. That's exactly what I was going to say. Thank you, Pragya Shukla, for this. The whole logic is, today when someone says Apple, it's very rare that you will find people connecting the significance of Apple. Apple is a fruit. It's very important for a different reason altogether. We say that an apple a day keeps the doctors away. It was an apple that determined gravity. But nobody remembers that. The second somebody says Apple, the first thing that comes to people's mind is an iPhone, an iPad, a MacBook Pro, and all those filana, all those products. Because let me tell you something about the trademark application of Apple. Apple has covered nearly more than 50% of all the classes available in the trademark industry. Now, the reason why? They didn't leave a single stone unturned. They are into business management. They are into marketing management. They are into advertisement. They are into wholesale retail. They are into online services. They are into music. They are into videography. They are into entertainment. And then they are into electronics. They are into electronic products, and they are into softwares. That is how possessive Apple is about for their trademarks. And do you know Apple's investment on trademarks? Can anybody make a wild guess? Per month? Per month? Saurav Jain says billions, 20 crores. Saurav, I think I'm just going to give you the award because they nearly spend 25 CR just on the trademark portfolio management for Apple. They don't care. Why? Because nobody on this planet should take trademarks. I'm saying lucky advocates for Apple. But Apple is very, very, very crazy about their trademarks, not just in India, all over the world, every country where they sell. That is the reason why trademark practice for some of the young companies, some of the young organizations which are growing very fast, it is going to be a booming industry. It is going to be a booming field if you are going to work in the field of trademarks. This is why I say, why is it a rising field? Next question is, why should not one ignore trademark as a part of practice? Now, there is this one myth that people say. The myth is basically, trademark is the easiest of all the laws. Trademark koi bhi kar sakta hai. And in India, there is this very bad notion where they say, I want to patent a name. They don't say, I want to trademark a name. I'll say, I want to patent a name. I want to copyright my name. I want to mere logo pe patent lana hai. The point is, 75% of the population in India does not understand the value of the law which we call as the Indian Trademark Act. They don't know the value of the law which we call as the trademark law in India. Trademark law is not easy as most people have thought about it. The myth is बहुत आसान होता है trademark को समझना. Identify the class, place the class, and you're done. Done and dusted. Trademarks are ready for you. It's not like that. Here is the statistics again. Out of every 10 trademark applications, 7 to 8 trademark applications get objected. They definitely get objected or they get opposed. Why? People do not understand the study of trademarks from the perspective of trademark application drafting, trademark search, trademark filing, trademark objection reply. What is an allied trademark? What is a non-allied trademark? what is a distinctive trademark or what is a descriptive trademark. Nobody has actually made that much effort to understand day one when they hear the name trademarks. All they think is it is the easiest law. But here is the thing. Trademark law is as easy as studying the Indian Constitution. The Indian Constitution has so many beautiful features. It has a beginning, it has an end, but still it has been omnipresent. The Indian Constitution has spoken of many particular features and characters. Same way, there is a jurisprudence behind trademarks also. There is a history and story behind trademarks also. People have confused even in the past between the names of two people, which has costed people not millions, but people have lost empires because of trademarks. That is the reason why trademark law, and you will be even surprised that if you have read the Bhagavad Gita, I'm not saying Bhagavad Gita says trademark, but Bhagavad Gita says protecting the name, which is very important. So if I have to rely upon the Bhagavad Gita while understanding the trademark law, I can say that protecting the name is not an easy process, but it is the most important process. So when you're looking at trademark practice for youngsters who are there, I would say that it is a good beginning. It is different because what do youngsters want? हम कुछ नया करना चाहते हैं. But people demotivate you by saying that trademark law, what's so special about it? It's not like that. The trademark law is actually special just for one single reason. Because everything, like the Constitution, is clubbed under a single name. You research, you go in detail, you go from point to point, you go from A to Z, you will see that everything is connected to that name. Names have history, logos have history, logos have etymology, logos have a beginning, logos have an end. So I believe that trademark practice is one practice which is as difficult as any other practice. But it all boils down to a single point. How specialized are you and how far you're willing to go to learn about branding, learn about brand names and trademarks. Now that comes down to the next question for today. Is there a lot of money in the trademark industry? How many of you have asked this question when you came into the practice front, that is there money in the trademark field? Or how many of you have this thought right now, कि क्या trademark practice में पैसा है? Is there money in this trademark practice? The chat box is open, guys. How many of you had this thought? Yes, definitely. Wow, a lot of people have this question. Yes, I have this thought. I have had. Okay, Vinita. Yes, I don't have right now. Eventually, I will. Divya Selvam, yes. Ravneet Kaur, yes. No, like a lot of people are giving me different answers over here. And a person has said it. Now, after hearing how much Apple pays to maintain their trademarks, I'm sure that there's a lot of money. That's nice. The whole point is, yes, trademark practice is one area where you can earn very well. It is an area where you can actually mint a lot of money. Because again, let me just stick to intellectual property. I'll not go outside intellectual property. Trademarks are connected to copyrights, trademarks are connected to patents, trademarks are connected to designs, trademarks are connected to softwares, trademarks are connected to artistic work, trademarks are connected to literary work, trademarks are connected to movies, trademarks are connected to cartoons, trademarks are connected to food recipes, trademarks are connected to name of methodologies, trademarks are literally connected to everything. Every person who's filing a patent will ask, sir, iska trademark bhi ho sakta hai? Every person who comes to file a copyright will ask, is there a trademark also behind it? Every person who wants to protect a design will come and ask, is there a name? It has a very unique name. Can I protect this name also? So therefore, trademark industry, if you know how to understand your clients, if you know how to educate your clients, if you know how to explain to your clients, yes, trademark industry has a lot of money. So a person has just said, but as you said, it boils down to how much expertise one attains. It's a very true point, sir, because a lot of people do not have the expertise in trademark. Therefore, they make trademarks look very simple. They make trademarks look very negligible. But to be frank, trademark practice is as prestigious and as wealthy. I'll call it a wealthy practice. It is as wealthy as any other good field of law. There are so many fields of law which are, like that, where people earn like crazy, even in criminal law or even in corporate law. Same way, trademark does trademark has a very strong position, wherein trademark practitioners, very good practitioners, some of the big law firms, they are earning very well in the market today. And trust me, if you know how to educate the client knows that what I'm paying is worth it. That's the beauty about the fact that can I earn well in the field of trademarks? Now here we come to the next question that has come in front of me. Do I need to study a lot in the field of trademarks? Do I need to really put a lot of efforts to study a trademark? Now, here is the whole point. We learn a lot of things in law school. We learn so many different things in law school. But by the end of the day, when we come down to practice, it is then that we realize that everything that we have learned is from the books. And what we are now going to learn will be from experience. Same way, trademark is also designed in that perspective. Unless and until you have a particular course or you have a particular kind of a module that teaches you how to practice in the field of trademarks. Now, trademark, when I came into the field of trademark a few years ago, all I understood about trademarks is that there is the Trademark Act, there is the trademark rules. I asked myself, itna hi to hai, ho jayega. But the more I read, the more I studied about trademarks, I started exploring national trademarks, international trademarks, domestic trademarks. I started exploring types of trademarks. I started exploring multiple aspects which were involved in the field of trademarks. That's where I realized that the knowledge of trademark practice does not come from the books. The knowledge of trademark practice purely comes from experiences. I'll be brutally honest. There are hearings I have lost. There are cases I have lost. Why? Because I was not ready with that good amount of experience. But the more I learned through that experience, the more I learned from my own mistakes, I started winning more cases. I started getting a lot of trademarks registered. I got a lot of trademarks granted. Today's date, I'm not blowing my own trumpets, but our team managed almost more than 1,600 trademarks. This happened because of the fact that we made 100 mistakes. Each one of us, everybody in my team made more than 100 mistakes just to understand where the law is supposed to play, where logic is supposed to play, and where your gut feeling has to play. So trademark practice, like any other area of law, like any other practice field, requires a lot of practice, requires a lot of hard work, and most importantly, it requires a lot of smart work and study. If you have all these factors in the right place, and I promise you, trademark practice can be achieved. People say you can become a trademark expert in 1 year, or some say that you can become a trademark expert in just 5 months. But you can learn trademarks in just 1 month. You can learn trademark practice in just 2 months, but becoming an expert will take you nearly 5 years. That is the whole thing about trademark practice. Then another question that I had was, does trademark meet other areas of law? Is trademark even associated with other areas of law? Like I said in the beginning of this webinar, yes, trademark meets within its own family patents, geographical indicators, copyrights, designs, integrated circuits, ergonomic products. So yes, within its same particular sector or circuit, trademark meets a lot of laws. But on a larger scale, trademark meets criminology, criminal law. Trademark meets, like, I'm a trademark raid expert myself. So when I've conducted trademark raids, I need to have a good knowledge about IPC and CRPC. Without that, I cannot jump into trademark raids. Then whenever I studied about domain name disputes, whenever I studied about cyber squatting, fraud, misrepresentation on the online forum, I had to get my Information Technology Act really strong. That is where trademark met. In another particular scenario, what had happened with trademarks is that it was an arbitration dispute where people were fighting upon who gets the right to a certain brand name. The matter had to be arbitrated, where we had to talk about the trademarkability and the value of the trademark, where arbitration laws had to be studied. So I had to go into the basics of arbitration and conciliation. Recently, I was just talking to my good friend Anesha here, and she was telling me about Raipur. I remembered my argument and like my court sessions in Raipur, where I had to argue in front of the excise department, because even in the excise department, they have areas where trademark meets taxation. Then there was one particular client who was coming all the way from Holland for me. So when we were discussing with that particular client, we had to study what were the trademark laws of Holland and how do they conduct the entire procedure over there. So trademarks met international law also. When we were establishing a company, there were the MOAs, there were the AOAs, then there was a complete structure for the organization. So that is where I had to refine my company law. And last but not the least, there was this one particular area which I always found difficult in law school. Even today, I sometimes ask my partners or I ask my friends to support me, is civil procedure code. So when there is a civil dispute related to a trademark, then CPC also had to become strong. So trademark is one area which meets many different areas of law. Funny story, trademark has also met family law. You can ask me on email how, I'll explain to you in detail, but we have a paucity of time. But trademarks has met family law also. If you wish to understand this, where did this logic come from? I would say please watch this movie called Angrezi Medium. You will understand why trademark meets family law. So that way, if you are in exploring the field of trademarks, your life doesn't begin with just filing a trademark and getting it registered. You have to explore every single aspect if you want this client to grow and if you want more clients to get converted. I will be, yes, okay, thank you, Advocate Aditham. Okay, sorry, I'm sorry if I got your name wrong. Thank you for giving me that point. Okay, Madhur Tulsiani, have you asked, is it about inheritance? Sometimes the family name Madhur Tulsiani, just to answer you, Vinita, just to answer you, if there is a family name which has been associated with a family business, and sometimes brothers or family members fight over that name, it is a trademark dispute. Kaun pehle aaya tha? Who's the real name? Who's the original owner of that name? Family law has met trademark law, not once, but many times in different cities. One particular case happened even in Tamil Nadu, which was a very surprising case, which was IYER versus AYER. So this became a very big area where we could explore and study more, which comes down to one last question, sorry, which had come to me asking, can one begin their career as a lawyer, as a trademark practitioner? So thank you for this question, but if I have to connect this particular question to the previous question, where I had spoken about if trademark law meets other areas of law, where trademark law meets multiple sectors, the answer is yes, you can begin. Because the best way to begin for me, like, let me be very honest, I was an average student in my undergraduation. I didn't do much. I mean, I was like one of the typical kids who enjoyed college life, must holiday package hai college ka. That was the kind of a mentality I used to have till my 4th year. 5th year, when things started getting a little serious, the first law, thanking one of my very close friends and roommates, Advocate Suyesh Sinha, I started the trademark study by just opening the Indian Trademark Act. I asked Suyash, everybody knows CRPC, everybody knows CPC, everybody knows IPC. यार मुझे तो कुछ नहीं आता, मैं तो बस पास हो गया हूँ. He said it's not like that. Now is your chance to restart. So if you want to restart, please start from the point where you find law interesting. And for me, trademark was the point where I found it interesting. I started reading. Now I'm a big DC Marvel fan. So I like a lot of names related to DC and Marvel, like Batman, Superman, or Iron Man, Captain America. So where I realized that in trademark law, I'm studying about names. This is how my study began. I went to the clear basics of how trademark became an important factor. So slowly when I started studying, I explored about the penalties under trademarks. What are the do's and don'ts under trademarks? How a trademark process is conducted? Who is a registrar of trademarks? Who is a senior examiner of a trademark? What is an acceptable trademark? What is a non-acceptable trademark? What is goodwill behind a trademark? So the more I studied about trademarks, I could start relating with what I had studied in law school. I could connect it to different areas of law. So to answer this one particular question, yes, trademarks is an excellent field to start your study and practice in. I was able to explore certain areas of law which I had ignored in my entire law school. And today's date, when I look back, I am happy I made the decision. Today, trademark is like the front runner for my particular law firm. But when it came down to the point that I had to look at the other laws as well, I didn't find it difficult to study the other laws because trademarks was related to everything that is associated with the field of law. That is how the journey began. And today's date, I'm a specialization in energy. I'm a specialization in business law. I'm also a specialization in labor laws. But where did it all begin? It began with a simple trademark practice or simple understanding of the Indian Trademark Act. I'll be very frank. I opened Wikipedia and I studied what is a trademark. But that was the ABCD. Today it's the Trademark Act, the trademark rules, the different procedures involved, the different forms in trademarks, but connecting to other areas of law also. How to prepare an affidavit, how to claim usage, how to provide evidences, how do you make a set of evidences, how do you represent yourself in the court, how do you file an infringement, how do you file for an infringement, how do you file for passing off, how do you file for a complaint in the police station saying that there is a trademark infringement. Everything happened when I just began studying what is a trademark. So if you are looking at a practice in the field of trademark and you wish to literally start from the basics of trademarks, start your legal career with trademarks, trust me, it's a good decision. So with this, my friends, I would be open to question and answers. So let me just guide you all. Just give me a minute. All of you are throwing the questions on the chat box. A lot of questions get overlapped. So there is a Q&A box. There is a question and answer box. Okay. So I would request you all to place your questions on the question and answer box. Anisha ji, it would be nice if you could help me out on this point. Anisha ji, if you are there, if you could help me out with moderating the questions.
Yes, Keshwa. Sorry, I was on mute.
No problem, no issues. So
Sure.
Can we start taking the questions, maybe one by one?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So Lalit is asking, TM attorney registration process in India. Is science background required? What is the level of difficulty of the trademark agent exam and the content?
Okay, the trademark agent exam, first of all, Lalit, thank you for this nice question. The trademark agent exam is very easy. It is not very difficult. It's enough if you study for at least 2 months to 3 months, because majorly it focuses on the Trademark Act, the process of trademark registration. Okay. So the trademark registration process, you can very well go to ipindia.nic.in. You can see the trademark agent registration process. And last but not the least, the contents I have told you just now, and the level of difficulty, it is not very difficult. Do you need a science background? You do not require a science background to become a trademark agent. But if you want to become a trademark attorney, you don't even need to write the trademark agent exam. Simple as that.
So we have another question from Anurag. So he's asking, trademark and copyright laws are differentiated, but yet belong to the field of intellectual property rights. How can a young law student look at both the fields and choose one as a career?
Okay. Now, Anurag, answering this question, if you had just listened to me a while ago, I said trademarks is the front runner for my law firm. Where I explore the field of trademarks, I have to explore copyrights and patents also. Trademarks was like the beginning for me. Okay, trademarks is like the beginning for me. So where I jumped into copyrights and where I jumped into patents, it was purely because I started with trademarks. Now you can choose where to start with. Now, why I advise trademark is that the trademark law has a lot of features that are connected to the copyright law. Whereas the copyright law is a completely different world in itself. So if trademark is like the master, all the rest are like the jack of all trades. So copyrights, patents, you don't have to just choose one and ignore the other. It's a very simple thing. If you even choose copyright today, you will not ignore trademarks, because in just a matter of 2 to 3 cases, you will realize that trademarks and copyrights are complementary to each other. They are sister laws. I hope I've answered your question, Anurag.
Okay, so we have a question from anonymous attendee. He or she is asking, in order to build a career in trademark law, is it compulsory to have a BBA LLB degree, then a BA LLB degree, because BBA is linked with business?
Okay, to this anonymous attendee, it would be really nice if we know what is your trademark also. That is, we would be happy to know your name. But anyways, to answer your question, I am a BA LLB. I am not a BBA LLB. Whereas my best associate, my right hand in my law firm, he is a BBA LLB. Okay, it doesn't matter. BBA LLB, yes, Bachelor of Business Administration gives you an understanding of the business. It is not designed anywhere, or it's not stated anywhere that if you do BBA LLB, you can do trademarks better. Or if you do BA LLB, you can do trademarks better. Me being a BA LLB, I'm very strong with trademarks. And again, my junior also, my associate also, being a BBA LLB, he's very strong at trademarks. So it really doesn't make a difference.
Okay, so we have another question from Shrishti. She's asking, does smell holds the same value and equal importance as other trademarks like logo, name, shape, color, and merely gets left like a mere part of trademark, as it is difficult to prove for smell? I would really like to know about this. I've heard your view on this before.
Okay, thank you. So, Srishti, this question is a very beautiful question. So, I'm going to ask you a counter question. Have you ever been to Domino's? Srishti, if you're out there, just give me a yes on the chat box. Srishti Jethra, yeah. Thank you, Srishti. You've been to Domino's. So, do you like the Domino's double cheese margarita, Srishti? Not really. Do you like anything with Domino's, Srishti? So basically, Srishti, what I'm trying to say here is that not really. Yes, the chicken pizza. Okay, very nice. So Srishti, the whole point is smell is as important as the logo, because human beings are one of the most intelligent species who can identify the brand by its smell, who can identify the quality by its smell, who can say whether is this the real one or not. That is a human psychology, and trust me, that has been ascertained. Like, let's be honest, in India, we still are lagging behind when it comes to smell marks. But on the contrary, if you look at other countries, there is a very strong mechanism to determine smell. For example, I have taken this example in the course modules for Loctopus. The smell of freshly cut green grass for Costco ball. So if you all have played this cricket, your gully cricket with a tennis ball. So this Costco ball, the green ball, has a smell called a smell of freshly cut green grass. So that one particular smell has been trademarked, and it is trademarked all across the globe. Even in India, they had filed an application for the same. So the following question comes with Vinita on the chat box, because I was just looking at the chat box. So how do we register a smell mark and how do we identify it as a trademark? To be very frank, Vinita, in India, we do not yet have that technology. But the technology is in existence, and I am looking at a massive amendment in the trademark industry as soon as that device comes into India for identifying and differentiating between smell. So we are looking at a bright future for smell marks in India, both Srishti and Vinita. Can you take the next question?
Okay.
Can we
this
take
is an
this
interesting
question?
one, actually.
Yeah, please.
So A. Chopra, I don't know what his trademark is. We just know his surname. So he's asking, how can a client know who is a good trademark lawyer and how to hire a good trademark lawyer? I think that is the question.
Okay, Chopra ji, this is a very complicated question, and this is a very challenging question. But again, as an honest advocate, I would love to answer. See, when I first wanted to study and understand what is a trademark, I wanted to go and learn from a good trademark advocate. You leave the part where we try to find out who's a good trademark advocate and which trademark advocate will actually pay less, or charge less or charge more, or will give you quality. People can do trademark search in just half an hour. And there are people who take minimum 1 week to do a trademark search. If the lawyer asks you about 5 different things related to a trademark, and I say 5 different things, let me put it in simple words. First, sir, is it a spelling or is it a logo? That is the first identification. The second question that follows up is, sir, what are the allied industries where you're connected to? Question number 3, sir, are you a sole proprietor or are you a private limited LLP? Fourth, sir, do you have a startup certificate or do you have an MSME? And 5, sir, why don't you give me 5 different brand names before we decide which brand name to trademark? If any lawyer asks you these 5 questions, I can promise you a lot of people will try to copy these 5 questions in the near future. But I'll be very frank with you, if any of these 5 questions are asked and there is a follow-up question which I will not reveal because that is my intellectual property, then you know that the lawyer is very good. Then you know that that advocate knows trademarks better than anything. And trust me, out in India, out of every 100 advocates, only 20 advocates know how to ask this kind of a question, because they would have studied the brand name better than even the owner of the brand name. Yes, Anisha, we can go to the next question.
Okay. So next, Astha, and she's asking, sir, do we need to register or get any license separately other than as an advocate in your own state bar to practice trademark?
Astha, the beauty about the trademark world is that either you are a trademark agent or you are an advocate. Simple as that. So if you are an advocate, not a trademark advocate, if you are just an advocate, like for example, I am enrolled with the Delhi Bar. So I can practice in the field of trademarks. I can do filing, I can do processing, due diligence, because when I register myself as a trademark attorney, automatically that option opens up for me. But if I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an advocate, then I will have to write the trademark agent exam. So you don't need any particular kind of a license or something to practice in the field of trademarks if you already are an advocate.
Okay. So another question from Sandhya, she's asking first step or suggested resources to start our study in this subject.
Sandhya, I'm going to give you a very cliche answer and a very funny answer. Now, this is what my mentor used to tell me. I used to say, do I follow books like P. Narayan, or do I follow something from LexisNexis, or do I follow Sharma? My my guru said just one thing. Keshav, open the Bear Act. So Sandhya, to be very honest, start with the Bear Act. Read the Bear Act. Sometimes you don't understand what is there in the Indian Trademark Act. Read it not once, read it 4 or 5 times. The second you start asking questions that what is the exact interpretation of this clause, then you open a commentary like P. Narayan. That is how you begin. And I would also recommend internships and really good courses where you can learn about trademark practice.
So Keshva, adding to your point, I think what your mentor said, my trademark faculty used to tell me this: if you actually understand what the Bear Act is trying to convey, you will be able to stand in court and fight your for your clients, you know.
Totally.
Because at the end of the day, Bear Act is the base of any particular law, and if you are able to interpret that, you will be able to, you know, fight any case which is coming in front of you. So I think, yeah, that's a very good point. So Apurva is asking now again, this is an interesting question. How do you acquire your clients? Since this is a webinar on trademark practice.
Well, right now, I think I would have made close to 5 clients out of the 200 people who have attended it. Okay, so it's a good start for me. But Apurva, honestly, I write a lot of articles. My team writes a lot of articles. So maybe if you could visit Bhaskaran, www.bhaskaranslegal.com, you will see a lot of articles related to intellectual property and trademarks, which is associated with my law firm. That is how my clients get attracted to me. That is how my clients know that I know my stuff.
So Utkarsh has a question. He's asking, what are the steps one should take to start his career or practice in trademark law just after getting out of law school?
Can I know the full name of this gentleman?
Utkarsh Jha.
Utkarsh Jha. Okay, because it so happens that my senior associate is also Utkarsh. And he is a brilliant gentleman. Anyways, Utkarsh Jha, what are the steps one should take to start his career on practice in trademark law just after getting out of law school? Utkarsh, let me give you a cheat code. My trademark practice started when I was still in law school. I didn't wait for my law school to end. Even before I completed my law school, I had started my trademark research. I had worked on my trademark study on trademark practice. Of course, I could not represent in the court because I was still a student. But on the contrary, since I had started studying, I used to go for a lot of show cause hearings. I used to go for raids. I used to accompany my either partner or associate under whom I was interning. So I think everything begins at home. The first thing about trademarks, like you'll be quite surprised to know, Utkarsh, before even I established a law firm, even before I established a full-fledged practice, I used to take my bike and I used to go around the city of Pune looking at different brands. I used to go to MG Road. I used to go to this Lakshmi Market. I used to go to FC Road. I just used to see different brands. I used to take a note of it. Luckily, smartphone came to my rescue. So I used to just click photos of all those brands. I used to come home. I used to research on all those brands. I studied every single brand in detail. I agree that the conversion rate was low. Every time I went to one of those brands and I asked, sir, would you be interested in trademarking? Either they would just listen to me and say no, or they would just say, please get out of here. But on the contrary, out of those 100, 200 brands that I had explored, 5 conversions made the difference. And that is how my practice began. So I studied by the end of the day, or I learned by the end of the day, that how to get a client, point 1, from those 5 clients. And second, what is the fate of those 195 people who rejected my offer? So someday something is going to happen. They are going to come running to the trademark advocate because I'm sure they have my card out there. That is how practice began, Utkarsh. And that is how we reached so far, and we have, like, we are where we are right now.
So, Keshva, you mentioned about the money aspect of, trademark law practice. So there is a question related to that. It's by Kunal. So Kunal is asking, how much salary can a fresh law graduate expect while working in trademark law firm in metropolitan cities like Mumbai or Pune? An approximate figure shall be helpful.
Okay, now this is an extremely complicated question. Okay, this came from a gentleman named Kunal, you said, right?
Kunal, yes.
Kunal, okay. So first of all, Kunal, that's a very nice question. And this is one question that every law student, a young law graduate, everybody asks. So I'll take my own thing. When I started trademark as a practice, my first salary was, just for being on the R&D team of trademarks, was 15,000 rupees per month. Not much. I mean, could manage my rents, could manage my bike petrol, could manage my food. That's all. But 15,000 is where we began. But if you look at a good metropolitan city, now I started my trademark practice in Chennai. Later, I shifted to Pune. So in Pune, I saw a completely different dimension. The cost is lesser than Chennai. That is, a young fresher may not begin. A young fresher, let me just put the point over here, may not begin even with 5 to 10,000 rupees. But if I have to give you the statistics, it is not about यार शुरू में बस 10,000 मिलेगा तो क्या होगा आगे जाके. Today the figure has multiplied. Okay, a young fresher can grow in no time at all. Like if I have to take a few examples, there are people who work on sharing basis with advocates, where they take up a case or they handle a client, they get a certain percentage. So when I did a small cost analysis, I realized that a young fresher has the potential to score close to 30,000 to 40,000 per month if they are willing to work accordingly. Sometimes we expect as freshers that we will sit in one place, my boss will give me orders, I will sit and work. But how many freshers are willing to go a level beyond to actually reach that level is the whole question. So to answer your question in an approximate figure, you can start at 10, but if you work really hard, you can make that 10,000 at least, I'm not giving a very big figure, 50,000 per month in just a matter of 8 months. It is highly possible.
So, Keshva, a lot of our attendees have this question whether an LLM specifically in IPR is important to make a breakthrough in like trademark practice.
Okay, I'll be very brutally honest with you. I am not an LLM in IPR. I am an LLM in business laws. I had the company law, contracts, constitution, jurisprudence, comparative constitution. IPR was one of my elective subjects. To be very honest, you don't need an entire LLM in intellectual property. It's enough if you have, like, I'm not against people, like I myself was hunting for a university or a college which could give me an LLM in intellectual property. But when I came to ILS Law College to do my LLM, IPR was just one of the electives. But I took it nevertheless, reason being that I was studying business laws also, so that helped me understand IPR a little better. So my honest advice to you all would be, you do your LLM in a general subject like business laws or constitution, but do a certification or a course in intellectual property, which will provide you a specialized guidance. Because if you are doing your entire master's in just one particular field of intellectual property, you're narrowing your vision. Rather have a broad vision, but have a narrow target when you're looking at courses in IPR. That is what I would advise.
So Rishi is asking, are trademark lawyers exempted from Rule 36 of the BCI Act? Can they advertise their work?
No, they cannot. Trademark lawyers, the second you put the name lawyers, I'm sorry, we can't.
Okay. So I saw a question from Pankaj. He has specifically mentioned, sir, a question from UPES student. So he's writing, what is the position in India with respect to the unconventional trademark?
Okay. So first of all, it's really good to have a question from somebody from my humble, sweet Dehradun. Okay, this is lovely, and thank you for that question also. So to be very honest, unconventional trademarks in India, there is a very strong future. One, if the law directly doesn't approach it through the act, you can definitely approach unconventional trademarks through experience. Because there is one beauty about the Indian law is that every law has a loophole. Every law has a bylaw. Every bylaw has a bylaw, which puts you in an advantage that when you're dealing with a subject called unconventional trademarks or conventional trademarks, you are in a position to interpret it through other laws. Now, being a fellow brother or sister from UPES, I would openly say that we are trained to handle areas of law which are completely different and diverse. So that puts us in a position where studying unconventional trademarks becomes extremely advantageous for us. So we are looking at a bright future for dealing with unconventional trademarks on both technical and non-technical terms.
So, Keshwa, this question, I am asked this question a lot. When I say I've done my masters, I've written my dissertation on AI and IPR. So, again, a question from Anurag, but it's a very interesting one. So, he's asking, what are the possible impacts of AI on IPR presently as well as in the near future?
As long as you don't give control to the artificial intelligence for handling your trademarks or copyrights or patents, then I think it is a good future. The second you are going to give artificial intelligence the control over everything, now this is coming from me as a cybercrime advocate, I would say that you're putting your life into the hands of the Terminator. It's simple as that. But on the legal perspective, if I have to say artificial intelligence and IPR, to be very honest, artificial intelligence does not have the intellect that a human being has. Why do we say that human beings are always one level above artificial intelligence? Because even if there is a 1% chance, we take it. We all have written clat, we all have written cat. Okay, so even if there is a 1% chance, we take it. That's the whole point. Whereas artificial intelligence will evaluate and see that if only there is an 80% chance or above, will it take a chance to go ahead with a trademark, copyright, or patent? Maybe an artificial intelligence can analyze factors much better than a human being. But a human being can find a certain error, or because we have something called as a gut feeling. That is where artificial intelligence and intellectual property, when they come together, you just need to remember one thing. Artificial intelligence in itself is an intellectual property. So an IPR cannot handle another IPR. That is how we need to look at it.
Right. So, Sai Subedya is asking, hello, sir. Do you think the laws regarding trade secrets will improve or change in the future in India?
It definitely will. That's what I believe, because we handle trade secrets. Okay, as a firm, we have handled a lot of trade secrets. So when we looked at trade secrets, the first question that came to our head was, can you really codify the concept of trade secrets? The point is, yes, you can. It is possible. How, when, what? Not right now. 3 years down the line, yes, it is possible.
Correct. So we'll take a few more questions. For others, the questions which are not really answered, you can send us your questions on webinar@lawpapers.com. I'll just post the email address on the chat box. So there is a generic question, Keshwa, where a lot of people are asking, do they have to specifically work in an IP law firm to make a career in trademark, or they can they can enter the independent practice of trademark and then they make a career in that?
See, the legal profession is like the medical profession. Okay, do not jump into operating a person without an experience. without somebody guiding you or somebody holding your hand. Same goes with trademarks. Don't jump into trademark practice without a guru, without a person to teach you. That's why I always, every day I begin, I thank my gurus. Even though I no longer work with them, they are in different cities. I still thank them, I still pray to them before I begin, because the whole logic that they guided me well. Now, the whole logic behind trademark practice is that even if you think that trademark practice is so easy and you think I can handle it very well, at least if you have done minimum 4 to 5 to 6 months of internship in hardcore trademark practice, then there is a point in you starting after college. But my humble advice would be, even if you are a fresher, work for some time with a law firm or with an advocate who practices in trademarks. Learn, don't jump into earning, learn. Then start your own practice. You will be happier.
Right. So, Keshwa, one last question. What is the difference between trademark agent, trademark attorney, and trademark advocate?
Okay. A trademark agent is not a lawyer. It's basically a person like a company secretary or a chartered accountant or somebody who's just sitting idle at home taking up the trademark agent exam, a qualified person taking a trademark agent exam. Whereas a trademark attorney and a trademark advocate are nearly the same thing. A trademark attorney is just the designation given by the trademark office for somebody who's practicing in the field of trademarks or who's handling trademark assignments. But when you file the application as a trademark attorney, it always asks you what is your what is your bar license, what is your enrollment number. So technically, a trademark attorney and a trademark advocate come under the same umbrella, while a trademark agent is usually a person, like lawyers have written trademark agent exams also, but again, it is not mandatory. Trademark agent exam is for those people who are non-lawyers.
Right. I think, Keshwa, we have covered all the questions. A lot of questions are repetitive, and I'm pretty sure that after this session, you know, many of our attendees, they are already practicing. They are students. They are still studying. Some of them have graduated and thinking about making a career in trademark. And I think your inputs would be very valuable to them. So, guys, I think it's now time we end the session. Thank you so much for attending. We are glad to have you here for all the questions, for the feedback. So, and yeah, we do keep conducting such webinars, and we will have Keshwa for other webinars as well. So do attend. And thank you so much, Keshwa. Thank you so much for taking out the time. So I called him very abruptly, and I asked him that, will you do this webinar for us? And he agreed. He never says no, you know. So thank you so much for that. And yeah, have a good evening, guys.
Okay, I think a lot of people are just asking for my email ID. So I've just shared my email ID, if that's okay with you, Anisha.
Yes, that's fine. As long as you are okay, we are okay.
I just shared my email ID. So if anybody wants
to... any webinar which we are going to conduct with Keshwa again will be uploaded on Lawoctopus. So, the post is always there on Lawoctopus. Feel free to check it. And yeah, thanks for joining in.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, Anisha. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Keshwa.